All right, what's up? Boss and the Brewer, episode number 59. Oh, new Zoom. Oh, all this stuff. Essential apps. So many essential apps. Holy shit. All right, Hendo's here. I want to get some of these apps. Business cards, I don't need that. Meeting tools. Prezi. Sesh, we definitely need that one. We need Sesh. Oh my God, what is happening right now? Oh, okay. Well.
Hello.
Oh, fuck, where's my phone? Hey, entertain the audience for 1 second. I got to get my phone.
What am I doing?
I don't
What am
know.
I supposed
Talk to yourself for like 10 seconds.
Why do I want to talk to myself?
Because I got to get my phone so I can take a photo of you drinking a beer for the.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Let me see if I can turn this up. No, where's the volume on that? Can't see. Oh, that. You wouldn't read about it.
I don't know where it is. I've lost my phone.
I've got to get my chair.
Okay, what is happening right now? What? Okay, well, that's a very big chair.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, you've got a lot of gas there. You've got an exercise bike, a lot of barbecue equipment, some mobility equipment.
Yes. And there's a barbecue. That's actually this thing here. That's a big fan.
Is it one of the 12?
It's one of those ones that you put the water in it and makes everything nice and cool.
All right, so it's a fan of yours. Lots of those going on. I'm sorry. Okay, all right.
Can you hear me okay?
Where are you?
I'm in Alice Springs.
Oh, that makes, okay, now everything's making sense now. So it's because
my internet connection is unstable.
That checks out.
Yeah. And I've lost my beer.
Oh, wow. So is it hot as fuck and just like pissing down rain?
No, it's wet as fuck.
Yeah.
It's not hot as fuck at all. It's like wet and humid and moist would be the word I would use.
Okay. So what's happening behind you there with the golf buggies?
It's what is happening with the golf buggy? That's just for golf. That's for golf.
Okay. So, but are you close to a golf course, or do you have to tow that to the course and use your own buggy?
No, you just go out the back.
You just go out the back.
Who am I talking to? What is happening, Ben?
Oh, you better come and say hi.
Howdy.
Hi.
Hey, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good.
Who are you?
I'm Kyle. Alice Springs Brewing. How's it going?
Oh, nice. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Sorry about the weather. Just saying you wouldn't read about this. It's only because Hendo's trying to record a podcast. It's torrential rain.
Well, it sounds fine. Is it actually pissing down right now?
Oh, sweet. Yeah. It's absolutely bucketing down right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds pretty good.
All right. Excellent. Have you got a beer?
Of course.
Oh, fuck off.
They sold one.
Do you know why I've got this? 2 reasons. One is because this is the last one I've got. And the second is I was watching Love Island and they were advertising fruity beer on Love Island and they got me.
Oh my God, Dan.
For anyone listening, it's on 9 now and you can stream it as you want. And Al is in the house at the moment where I'm up to. It's brilliant.
What flavors of fruity beer are they advertising on Love Island?
It wasn't this one. This is the Pinnacle one, isn't it?
No,
this is the CUB one. Okay, no, it wasn't this one. It was another. It was a Sundancer one, I think, or whatever the other one was.
They're both CUB.
Yeah.
Fruity. Well, we've got beers.
What are you working with? Oh, I've heard about that one. Have
It's
you got
the
have you got a
Alice-
glass to pour it into, or do you just drink it out of the
Nah.
can in Northern Territory? I don't know
We
how
don't
things
roll
work.
that way in the Northern Territory.
They're not invented here yet.
Okay, that's fair.
They
How's
haven't
that
been invented.
tasting?
Come back in. We're about 3 years behind here, so come back in 3 years. God, that looks fucking terrible. Show us that glass of beer. That looks terrible. Up. Oh my God, that looks just so. That's definitely the retentate from alcohol-free beer. You're drinking retentate from an RO system, just so you know. Oh my God, it's disgusting.
It ages well.
Does it? Oh, oh, look at us.
Oh my God, yeah. It was when you first came on. It was completely green.
Really? Let's
Yeah.
try that one. Is that working? Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. What's happening now? Well, so much is happening.
All the things are happening. There you go.
Okay, well, since you joined us, Kyle, why don't we chat to you?
Yeah, no worries. Great
Would
to
you
meet
want
you.
to? How's this going to work, Endo? I'll ask a question. How about you just tell us who you are and how you got started?
Yeah, no worries. My name's Kyle Pearson. One of the owners of Alice Springs Brewing Co. Been doing that for this is our 5th year in September. So still relatively new and still learning lots of stuff. Yeah, I sort of worked in the industry my whole life, in pubs, and I played on the stage and bounced on the door and ended up working for CUB for about 5 years.
Oh
And
shit! You
thought
don't.
I knew everything.
You're not
Sponsor of the
about
show. Sponsor of the show.
But I'm an endorser of the fruity beer. So still got the microchip in my head. Actually, not one person I know at CUB can explain fruity beer to me.
I've got to go.
So we call that infected. But anyway, but
So what made you like? What brought you to starting the brewing? And it was very small, wasn't it? It was like a 50-liter system or something. I read.
yeah, we started off with a 50 and a 500-liter brow pretty soon after that. I mean, I'd always sort of done extract brewing from a fairly young age when I couldn't legally buy alcohol, so we could buy extract tins from the supermarket, and
kilo.
yeah, did that and got into exploding bottles by adding too much sugar, thinking I was jacking up the ABV and all those sort of lessons you learn.
I thought adding more sugar was just going to make it more sweet, which I would have enjoyed more as a 14-year-old, but that didn't work either.
Like fruity beer almost.
I was ahead of my time.
yeah. But we started off. We bought a 50-liter pilot brewery. We sort of struggled to find a venue for a little bit, so we ended up getting one and put the 500 in and just 3 600-liter tanks. We outgrew that. Look, I thought I was going to work full time in my job when we first started and just hang out at the bar and drink schooners with my friends. And about 3 months in, that sort of became, it became fairly clear that wasn't going to be the case. We sort of were under more pressure to open more hours and do all that sort of stuff. So about a year after that, COVID hit. So probably thought it was all over for a few weeks. And it was kind of the worst thing that ever happened to us, followed by the best thing that ever happened to us. So craft beer was a bit of a hard sell here in the territory, for obvious, well, maybe not so much now, but back then everyone just thought we were trying to jam massive loads of hops down their throat. And, people, it's hot here normally, not right now. So people drink easy drinking beers and craft beer just didn't have that perception. So, it made the first 12 months or so tough, but with COVID, I think people got a bit more conscious about what they were drinking and where it was coming from and, that local element. So we sort of saw a really big shift in COVID. People, we weren't set up for pack either. We had this terrible bottling line that I bought on a whim because I saw it and I thought, oh, that's a good deal, and never even plugged it in. And then all of a sudden had to learn how to use it. And
so were you doing growlers or squealers or anything, or you were just doing keg?
No takeaway component before COVID. So,
wow. So did that change? Did they change the rules to enable you to do that, and did that help? Or
it did. We weren't allowed to sell growlers initially. We were told by the government we were allowed to do them, and then someone worked out that actually just wasn't a thing. Someone had just decided that. So we got growlers were made available during COVID. We tried our best on this bottling line to get this thing going. It was fucking horrendous. It was so bad. just D.O. bomb wouldn't even describe some of the beers that were sent out into the world. So, we worked out pretty quick that wasn't going to be a long-term thing, and we jumped into canning. And I mean, being where we are, I rang East Coast for a joke one day and asked them if they'd come out here. But they weren't keen.
I feel like the name of the company probably should have given it away.
Well, we're between each coast pretty much equally. So,
How far away is your nearest brewery?
have
Would
to
it
be
be-
Adelaide or Darwin.
So
like,
17 hours drive.
yeah, maybe as the crow flies, maybe beaten track in Kalgoorlie. I've never measured it.
So
But-
17-hour drive.
yeah, to the next closest brewery.
Yeah,
So
give or take.
imagine if you mash in on brew day and then realize that you didn't order that brick of yeast. You'd be fucked.
So do you guys have like hyperloops or anything out there to like connect you to different cities and shit like that? Or
No,
Mate.
Elon. No.
We barely even got internet, or glasses for that matter. Yeah.
God. So what did you go with for the canning line? Do you have to buy one?
Yeah, I bought a car Sam's, which probably, it was good and bad. It was a good introduction to canning, but it got really small really quickly. And
So what's that, like a 2-head one or something?
it's like 3-head filler,
Right.
fully semi-automated. So you're feeding the cans in, actually pushing them in as it repeats the
Three at a
cycle.
time and
Yeah. Which was kind of good at the time. Being out here, there's no one to work on anything. Like we were just saying before, we've got the only boiler in Alice Springs. So how do we get somebody to come and service that? We fly them in.
Oh my
So-
God. We couldn't even get someone to install our boiler. How the fuck
No.
did you figure that
No,
out?
it's a tough gig. So the Sam's was good. It sort of gave us an introduction to canning, but became really laborious really quickly. So we upgraded to a Max. Well, when we did that, 6 months ago, I think, and we put some more automation in. We just bought the decal and got a few bells and whistles going on that. That'll make it easier and less hands, I suppose, to get the job done, because we just can't get staff here either. It's quite hard to get people even just to come in and feed cans in or pack boxes.
Right. But you don't have any problem getting people into the venue?
No, look, the venue is really good. We're across the road from 3 caravan parks, so I think that's another thing we've been kissed by COVID with. The caravan park. Everyone's gone and bought a caravan, and they all have to come here. So sometimes begrudgingly, but yeah, the caravan parks heave in the peak season, so we've done really well there.
and they just walk over, yeah.
Yeah, they can just park their van up and walk in. So we've got a
That's
bit of
so
crime
cool.
stuff going on here, as is probably most of Northern Australia, I think. So people are a little bit wary about heading out to town after dark. So they head to us, which is good.
Yeah, I read that in the Crafty Pint thing. You guys were operating a bar and it got a bit scary or something.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's certainly prevalent here because I think it's such a small town and everyone's got a mobile phone in their pocket here and they're not afraid to use it and, they get photos and footage. But I mean, you guys are Queenslanders, it's happening in far north Queensland, it's happening in Darwin, the north of WA. It's just an issue. It's youth crime. And, I think living in remote places, there's not a lot to get up to. I mean, I know what I got up to growing up in country Victoria, and I'm glad the internet wasn't around then.
Go on. What did you get up to? Let's get it the exclusive.
No, it wasn't national fingerprint databases. Predates. Nah. But I mean, when you're a bored kid in the country, there's not a lot to do. So you get up to some pretty silly shit, and we lit things on fire and blew things up, and out in paddocks and drove rolled paddock bashes. And
Did you ever
so I
do
think
cow pushing?
no cow tipping.
Cow tipping, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's actually a national sport in the Northern Territory.
Is it real?
I don't think we have any vegan listeners, so yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt them.
Well, they're asleep.
They're asleep.
Right, but it must annoy them.
Yeah.
Lots of things annoy
What's
me.
that got to do with being vegan? It's like it's not cow
Not
eating.
eating
You think vegans
Cow
would
tipping.
like cow tipping?
Maybe.
Post it in the comments.
All
Do you guys have a big vegan viewership?
right, let's see. The vegans contact us. Let us know what you think about Kyle's pastimes as a youth. So what's the next step? Are you sort of at capacity now, or you're around about where you want to be?
Oh no, look, I think we've got some pretty aggressive plans. We'd probably like to be probably double the size where we are at least. I mean, there's probably a cap to what we can achieve being in the middle of the desert, and we've touched on a few of the things that make it probably difficult at times, just getting stuff here. I mean, and then getting it out, it's like the revert. It's like it's doing that all over again. So if every premium we pay dollar wise to bring in cans and bring in malt and everything else that we do, then we pay a premium to get it out of here as well.
So where are you selling? Where are you selling the beer? Like, are you selling it outside of the area?
Yeah, look, we're in Darwin fairly heavily.
Right.
We've grown up there quite well. We have a little bit of stuff in Brisbane. We sort of did well over there 12 months ago. We sort of lost focus of it a little bit, and we've been focusing closer to home. So Brisbane's on our radar, and the Gold Coast on our radar again. So look out, mate.
So have you got stockers currently in Southeast Queensland?
We've just done some work to get back into Paramount. So that's literally, we've had some stock come back online in Paramount this week, Paramount Liquor. But it's been an ordeal to get stuff back in, and, we haven't sent any beer yet because we're still trying to establish cold chain to get it over there. So we're close.
Yeah, I remember when I mean, it's hard enough for Southeast Queensland breweries to send beer around Southeast Queensland. I remember when we went to Tassie, every single person we spoke to was just like, it's basically impossible for us to sell beer on the mainland. And it was just that getting that distance was just impossible. It must be kind of the same thing. I mean, you don't have to travel across water, but I don't know if it's any better.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, in my mind, it should be easy because there's so much empty containers going back out of remote places, but no one's giving me access to those backloading rates as of yet. And I think there's probably, once we get a bit more scale, it might be something we can look into and maybe leverage. But there's so much empty, so many empty containers and trucks that go back out of Central Australia and the Northern Territory. Surely we could be loading some stuff in there to sell, not just beer, but what we can produce here, I guess.
So is your thinking that people will buy it in Southeast Queensland because it's something it's completely different? I mean, it would have to cost more than everything that's brewed here.
Yeah, I think Pete, there's probably a bit of romanticism about the territory that we try to leverage. And people have those memories of good times and maybe bad times as well. I don't know with what's been going on recently, but I think, and we've got some brands that probably transcend the borders a little bit as well. So yeah, it's definitely and you probably know better than anyone. It's probably hard to take a brand national, and it's certainly hard from the territory. But we do lots of silly things here, so we're happy to have a crack at that as well. So.
Nice. All right, Heather, you got any questions, or should we get on to the Wait. I've got a final question, but I'll ask that if you've got some, you can ask yours first.
No, you fire away, mate. I didn't pull up the notes on the computer because I've only got one screen here. So
yes, no worries.
I'm basically running blind.
Oh, okay. Well, no, we did have a couple of questions that we sort of planned. So I've got a couple more that I didn't ask. So let me get to those.
Ask your question, damn it.
What? No. That's a final question. That's going to be a segue into the next segment. So I don't want to ask that one until we're ready to move on. But okay. I did have a couple more questions before I get to that one. So one of them was, what was the impact on the local community? Because obviously you're, like you mentioned before, that this is kind of a place that people are going to because it's a different vibe than, I guess, the hotels or whatever people were doing before. What was it like before you guys existed, and what's it like now? What do you kind of bring to the table from that point of view?
Yeah, I think Alice was ready for a craft beer, and that's probably why we dove into it, and probably took the punt on it when we, being realistic, we probably didn't have all of the knowledge we need, and maybe still don't have all the knowledge we need, and you never do. But we, it was a pretty big dive in for us. A lot of people came in and told us they were going to build a craft brewery and they were going to do it, and but people didn't, and it didn't take us long to work out why nobody had. But Alice was ready, and we've got a really good venue where we are. It's a really good space. And people often say to us when they go there, they don't feel like they're here. So it's sort of, I researched this for like 5 years and went around and stole good ideas from every probably brewery and distillery in Australia that I visited, picked out what I liked, and we tried to build that into the brewery. So I think the community was ready for it. We've sort of been hamstrung by our size for a long time. We're only very small when we begun. We're only a portion of the building that we're in now. We have the whole building now. We've got a reno starting on Monday. It'll take us to maybe like a 500 capacity venue. So
wow,
we'll have it. Yeah, so we'll have a big venue.
So many great nomads.
Yeah. I think it'd probably just get us away. Yeah, I think too, it'll get us to that point where we'll have a room for a stage, and we'll be able to do live music there and comedy, and it'd probably become a bit more of a hub for the community as well. So the locals won't go there in tourist season because they don't like lining up, and so we always joke with them to come back. Oh, it's November, you can come back now because the tourists are gone. So hopefully, getting that extra capacity and better built bars, that we can service people better from, we'll turn it into sort of that community hub as well, for locals and for tourists.
You're gonna have to have like a locals bar, and then like the rest, like they do at the pubs and that. Have like a local pokey room and shit just for local people, and they can smoke their durries and play the pokies, that kind of
one
thing.
where you walk into and then everyone just goes quiet, and everyone turns around and just eyeballs you.
There's a record just you walk in, everyone's looking at you.
There's plenty of those bars in town already.
That sounds awesome. I want to come out there. How did you get there, Hendo? Did you flew there, right?
No, I rode my scooter.
No, you didn't. I know you didn't. You drove that golf buggy.
No. No, I flew out on Alliance Airlines. It's an interesting airline.
Nice.
That's a good plug. You on the books?
Yeah, no, I'm not on the books. And
can they sponsor us? We're looking for our first paid sponsor. What about Alliance Airlines?
Judging by the planes, man, I don't think they can afford it.
Airline.
It's interesting. It's like when you fly, because I normally fly Virgin, and I actually booked this through Virgin, but they subbed it out, the Brisbane to Alice Springs flight out to Alliance, and you can just test the fucking little differences when you fly. The difference flying from Virgin to Alliance, like the hostesses are just a little bit less attractive. There's no food.
Oh no, we're getting the pedals. Wait, talk me through the teeth situation, because that's really what the 12 want to know about.
What's that? The what situation?
The teeth. Like what kind of teeth? Is there a difference in teeth quality? Because
teeth were good. Yeah. Good. Actually, I will actually say Alliance Airlines has good oral hygiene. Definitely.
Good.
That's important.
That's good enough for me.
That's great. All right. Brilliant. All right. Two more.
How do we segue out of that?
Hey?
How do we segue out of that?
All right. Two more questions, Kyle. First is what has surprised you the most about starting a brewery?
Well, there's been a few things. I guess probably referencing what I said before, you probably go in and think you know a fair bit of stuff, and I certainly knew a fair bit of stuff from the hospo side, but as we got bigger, probably actually one thing that really surprised us how fast we got big, and then how little we didn't know when we big for us I'm talking, but there was a massive skills gap in growth, when we're trying to grow, and all of a sudden things that weren't important became really important. And
is this mostly
gaps in knowledge that we had
last year?
Oh, it's over the last 5 years. It's been a pretty steep trajectory.
Right.
I think we got through like 8 months, and we bought, we had 600 litre tanks. We bought a 1,500 litre tank, and sold all the 600 litre tanks. Now we've only got 1,500 litre tanks, but we just getting into a brewery that actually had to start producing rather than you go once a week and make a beer and then you'd go in the next week and make another beer, to a brewery that probably needed to make beer most days. And then, trying to hit consistency and hit numbers. And, that's probably how we got in touch with Hendo, because we're at a real point where, I was doing a lot of the brewing, which wasn't the intention. And, because our original brewer, he works out at the space base here. I'm not going to tell you what he does. I actually don't know what he does. But he went.
Sounds like you do.
He had. No, actually, he says he parks submarines. I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Wait, what? What does he say he does?
He says he parks submarines. So I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
Is that like some sort of code for something? All right, we won't go there.
Yeah, Google Pine Gap. There's all sorts of theories. But it just got too big for what we were doing really quick. So we ended up reaching out to Hendo and getting some assistance from him, and it's kinds of leads to why he's here. It's just sort of that trying to have continuous improvement, continuous growth, and that's a massive challenge. And you don't probably starting a brewery is one thing and it's a challenge, but managing growth is probably the hardest thing I think you'll ever do is trying to grow.
He would know.
No.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, and especially if you're brewing stuff and sending it across, the other side of the country, you also got to consider, well, what happens if it doesn't go well and you have to bring it back? So
we've been pretty lucky, I guess, and I guess we're still a novelty at this size. So, but fully get that, even for guys like yourself to send a product nationally, that's it's big commitment and big volume, and and I guess it's all relative. Like it's still fucking big to us and scary, and it's scary, and I think if you haven't woken in the middle of the night sweating in panic, you probably don't own a brewery. Well, you probably own something else. But it's one of those things. Sometimes you just wake up and go, "What the fuck am I doing? Oh, this is crazy."
There's certainly definitely the extra degree of difficulty because of the remoteness of the brewery, but Kyle and the Alice Springs management team have made the right investments in the right place at the right time to make sure that they can manage that growth, and beer quality is a big part of that. So. And it's not just, me being involved in the business. It's more about the access to the equipment, upgrades to the brewery, going from a Braumeister to, a full-blown steam brew house, and, upgrading the canning machine. There's a lot of quality management equipment here. It's really, really well done.
Yeah, I think too, the range of beers that we have to produce here probably don't, we do some crafty stuff, but who's the big dog from Stone and Wolf? I heard him say on a podcast one day that you can't think of yourself as a craft brewery if you're in a region. You got to think of yourself as a regional brewery, because the name. We love making big IPAs and I love drinking them, but it's not that's not a commercial side of our business. It's a side that we love doing and we're passionate about, and there's a certain element of the crowd here that love it, but the biggest beer we make is a fairly bland, pre-mail, 60% of what we do, and it pays the bills, and but it's sort of craft beer here and craft beer on the East Coast is fairly different. There's a big gap. Actually, I was telling Hendo, I was in New Zealand at Vivara. I ran into the range guys, and he said, "Oh, I've tried one of your beers," and he told me which one it was. And I was like, "Oh no, not that one." But he said, "Oh, my dad loves it." I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, okay, that's exactly what it's for." Your dad.
So that's the creamer.
What's that?
That should be your slogan. That's good. Like Alice Springs Brewing Company. We make beers your dad loves.
Beers for your dad. Yeah, so it's
amazing. Well, you found something that hits. Fucking stick with it.
Yeah, exactly. It pays the bills, and it's helped us get where we are and paid for all the bullshit. So
it's funny you mentioned, because as you were saying the growing, the growing pains and whatnot, I was literally thinking about a conversation I had with Jamie Cook at one of the ABA Awards. I think, Hendo, maybe one of those first couple we went to, when you were helping us out, and he'd be the interview you're talking about. I think he was on Brews News a few years ago. I remember him saying that, but he said to me, because I ran into him in the ABAs, and I'm like, this guy's like the craft beer god. I'm just going to ask him a bunch of questions, which probably annoyed the shit out of him. But I remember him very specifically saying, be careful, how much beer you sell in pack and how much you sell to the majors and how much you sell at a distance away from your brewery. And, you know, with the way COVID has gone for a lot of breweries, it's been really, really hard to stick to that. Like we used to kind of have targets. You want to sell a certain amount in keg, certain amount at the venue, certain amount in pack, but all the growth has come through retail. But that's the big red flag that he said to look out for, which was kind of interesting because I kind of saw Stone and Wood as this like gigantic national brand. He's like, nah, we sell a shitload of keg in Queensland and we've been profitable the whole time. And that's kind of how you do it. So yeah, you got to be careful. The further you send the beer away, the more you put into pack, the more you put into majors. It becomes really hard to account for and to work out how much it costs you and put pressure on your finances.
The less control you have over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, going back to that COVID thing, Coles and Woolworths actually sorted us out. You know, we wrote it in our business plan. You know, when I wrote it, I was like, oh, this is probably never going to happen. But, you know, because of the COVID thing, all of a sudden they had this massive focus on local and you know, all of a sudden, you know, we're trying to send beer recently to Gove. I don't know, Google where that is.
I've been there actually when I was 6 years old.
Oh, really?
Good. Can you tell us where it is?
Yeah. We're still trying to get beer there. It's still
well. I went to Groot Island, so I think I went to Gove first and like got a boat across or something.
Yeah, that's great. Where's Groot Island?
It's close to Gove.
North.
Huh?
North.
Oh, it's way north, is it?
Holy
Just
shit. Up north. Oh, northeast. Sorry, we've been corrected.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think the tide has changed a little bit. I know during COVID, like Woolies or Endeavour seemed to be really keen on the local thing, and then Coles more recently have sort of started on that path. I think Endeavour are kind of reading between the lines. It seems that they're kind of, you know, they've all got their own brands that makes more sense for them to sell than other people's brands. So they'll kind of pick the big winners, but it'll be hard to get a lot of national distribution through them. And Coles have been good to us, but ultimately it's always going to be tricky because like if you go into a supermarket, it's in their interest to sell their own products. They're making more money from their own products. So unless you can build a brand that, you know, can like, you know, a better beer. Woolies not going to stop selling better beer.
Yeah.
They might stop.
We've been thinking about some slogans for Alice Springs Brewing Company, and we were thinking, just hear us out on this one because I think it's a bit of a winner. We're thinking the beer from out here.
Oh, okay. No, that seems original. I like that. Wait, is it the beer from out here or the beer out here?
Our actual slogan is "We make beer here."
Yeah, is it?
Yeah,
I saw that on the website.
Yeah. Not from up here or over there. Here
or wherever
we make it here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, brainstorming. It's going well so far.
I'm a marketing genius, mate.
Yeah. All right. My last question: have you heard of the GABS Hottest 100?
We have.
You get that out there?
Yeah. We've placed a couple of times in the Hottest 100 new beers. We had a bit of a sabbatical from it last year. We're just like, we're probably a bit more focused on judged competitions now, I guess. This year we decided we'll have a bit of a crack. So we've sort of marketed heavily in our own market. But I think it's a very hard one to get. If you're not in Dan's, I don't know that you're ever going to be on that high up on that list. And that's, you know, they don't, you know, GABS might not agree with that, but I think that's just a reality, and it's very hard. You know, sometimes I guess you read the list every year and you scratch your heads and go, how the fuck did they do that? Like, because you see some breweries you never heard of, they get on there and they must, you know, I can't remember what the voting pool, how many people vote, like 60,000 or something?
They're making, I don't know if people vote, I think is the answer. Because remember that year, was it 1 mile or whatever from Northern Territory made it, and everyone's like, holy shit.
Yeah. And they did a really good job that year. They were in NT News, they're on local television. So they work pretty hard to achieve that. So hats off to them. You know, they haven't been able to replicate it since. So I don't know.
That seemed like a bit of a backhanded compliment. I feel like.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. We all love each other in the Northern Territory. So
doesn't sound like it. Sounds
I had nothing bad to say about anyone.
All right. Well, when I start recording,
podcast, especially,
we can talk some shit. No.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Hendo? Do you remember when Wade did the Wabbit saison? And,
Yes.
and because he's one of the guys in the group who's asked the question tonight. That thing went like international.
Yeah, and also the belly button beer,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
the 7 cent kid. Remember that one? That was insane. So they because it had a really good video, right? It was basically, the whole video was just slow motion, but in reverse. Was a guy drinking a beer, and then it sort of slowly rewound into some fermentation and some krausen on a beer, which went into, some grain coming out of a mash tun, which then went to some tweezers with some belly button lint going back into the belly button.
Messed up.
Amazing.
And they made a beer out of it. It was so good. They were good guys. I missed the 7 Cent boys. That was so good. Do you know how they got their name 7 Cent?
They
got really hammered. They got the brewery's on a farm, on Bowser's farm, and they were brainstorming the idea of having a brewery, but didn't know what they were going to call it. And so they got really hammered on the farm one night. And then there was a couch that they used to sit on, and then there was some petrol sitting in the shed. And so they poured petrol on the couch and just torched this couch. And then the next morning they wake up and they're all hungover and they go outside going, what the fuck have we done? And then the couch was just burnt to a cinder except for all the metal parts. And there was 7 cents that was left behind the couch. And that's how they got this. That's how they called themselves 7 Cent, because that was the amount of money left behind the couch that they torched. Yeah.
That's okay. All right.
And I had some really good nights there.
We should get them on the marketing team for Alice Springs and see what we can figure out for it.
Do you know how we came up with Alice Springs Brewing Co?
No.
Oh, never mind. It's
Can
too
you
long a
tell
story.
It's a story for another day. All right.
Yeah. How long does this podcast go for? Yeah.
I got another beer here. It's not a sponsored beer, but it's a Black Ops because I got it for free. Gin Basil Smash.
Gin Basil Smash.
Yeah, cocktail inspired sour beer.
What's in it?
Gin and basil.
Yeah, but what did you do with it?
What did I do with it?
Yeah.
I'm not the brewer, Hendo. I'm the star of the podcast, mate.
I've got a question for you, Dan.
Yes.
We can get your beer here. I reckon that's at Woolies. We can get Goat. When you guys are like thinking about where you're going to go, is NT on your map? I know we're 1% of the volume. Actually, when I worked at CUB, we used to get told we're 1% of the volume, 1% of the budget, which was enough to get shit done back in the day. But do you guys is a brewery of your size, is NT on your map? Especially for limiteds and things like that, gin basil smashes, that sort of gear. Do you think about us?
No.
Oh, that's what I thought. Move on.
No, like distribution outside of our area, even with like the distribution companies, even in the major cities, is super, super difficult. And I think like the Woolies and Coles, like with the distribution centers, the way they work, if you got the kind of beers that are okay to sit there and you're happy enough with the quality, you're happy for it to sit there warm and go around the country, that's one of the biggest benefits you get, because people can actually get it. I mean, you're not really getting the same thing because it's warm and it's not as fresh and all that kind of stuff, but getting it there any other way is just impossible. And I actually don't know how, the actual national distributed beer companies do it or did it, because it requires, a lot of investment, I think, or just, a lot of profitability to spend it on that. But like we don't really have that. Like, we don't have a whole lot of spare cash to expand in multiple states.
And you guys are still not pasteurizing?
No.
Yeah. No.
But
so
there's lots of big breweries that are widely distributed that don't pasteurize.
Yeah. Oh, and I've actually read your blog and the steps you take, to get out there. I've often wondered that though. The Goat we're getting here is obviously sat in a GC for a while. Still killer. So I'm not got here bagging it. It's often something we wonder about because sometimes you lose that control of it and you find out that, even though you paid for it to be shipped somewhere refrigerated, it's sitting in a storeroom somewhere at ambient. And in the Northern Territory,
beer, though. It sounds like your kind of beers, you'd be fine with like. Then if they're not super hoppy beers, like I know Hendo will be able to tell you more than I can, but like our beers are super hoppy, like the hazies, East Coast Haze, Goat. I notice the difference if they're sitting there for a while and they're warm. With your beers, pasteurize the shit out of it, probably, Hendo, you reckon? And probably taste the same. And
yeah, it's I think it's probably it swings and roundabouts, like when you pasteurize, you'll do a bit of damage to the beer, but you'll preserve it for a much longer time. So not anti-pasteurization, it's a tool, but it depends what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, but also I guess if the conversation is not so much about pasteurizing, it's about the flavor and the way the beer tastes. If you're making beers that are built around, remember what it was like when you were in Alice type thing, and they're not these massive hop bombs, they probably taste fine. Taste fine.
Last night we went to, it's called the Jump In.
The Jump In, yep.
Yeah, it was like a local craft beer bar and that sort of thing. And they had some Big Shed and they had some Bridge Road and some Nomad beers on tap. And they're all tasting really good, man. Really good. In fact, I would say better than some of the craft beer bars in some of the major cities that I've been to and that sort of thing, So, and I was really impressed.
Jump into a lot of, they source their own beer, so they're going direct to brewery and
they're getting a whole pallet at a time.
Yeah, and a lot of the time they're paying to get it here refrigerated as well, which hats off to them. A lot of people don't do so.
And the beers weren't extortionately priced or anything like that,
No, they just don't sell pints. That's my problem.
Yeah, that was a bit of a downer.
They do schooners or
just schooners?
Schooners.
There's only one bar size.
You don't fuck with schooners?
No, schooners are fine.
Schooner's not a pint.
Yeah.
Pints are stupid.
But you know what can get fucked? The fucking Schmitty. Schmitties can get fucked.
I got the wrong glass. Damn it. I was going to get the Brewdog schooner glass. It's like that big.
Schooner, the Brewdog schooner.
What's a Schmitty in mils?
A Schmitty is somewhere between 285 and 420.
Weights and measures are coming for you if you're using a Schmitty.
Schmitty's also a stupid name that I can't even say. Okay, so hottest 100. So you've made the new beers list. Have you made the actual the hottest 100 list before?
No, we haven't.
Do you know? Yeah. Do you know, because like before last year they used to publish the 100 to 200. Did you make the 100 to 200?
Yeah, we have made the 100 to 200 before. Another strategy we've utilized is to do collab brews. So you sort of with Beaver Brewery in Darwin. So we sort of leverage both fan bases. Which we've done that with one of the beers this year. So we've entered 5 beers. One of them is a collab, but we're just sort of throwing a few different marketing tactics, e.g. money, at it this year just to see if that's
so doing like actual paid ads or just like
paid ads. And once again within the Northern Territory. So, and I think here too, like people know who we are. They don't necessarily know who GABS is. So we're bigger than GABS in the Northern Territory. If anyone asks,
do you know what would really make a Alice Springs Brewing Company beer crush it in the hottest 100 and in the Northern Territory? Make a Grodzitsky.
A pineapple Grodzitsky.
A smoked pineapple Grodzitsky.
Yep. That's true.
I hope someone's writing this down. Yeah.
Do you know what a Grodzitsky is?
No.
It's a beer that's about 3.5%, so perfect for here.
Right. Yep.
But it's made with 100% oak smoked wheat malt.
Which you probably can't get there, to be fair.
We've got heaps of that.
Of course you can. Get whatever you want if you're prepared to pay.
We'll just get that bag that we're not using from out the back.
You guys have oak here?
You can just get the normal malt and you can just walk into the public bar where everyone's smoking the durries and it can just like absorb the flavour. And
that's right. It's what do you call that?
Winfield Blue.
Okay. Well, do you do stuff at the venue? Because I think honestly, it's like for the people that outperform their size, I don't think it's about national kind of distribution and shit. I think it's just like people at the venue come in and
you could call it a Sigzitsky.
Oh
It's
my God.
100% cigarette smoked wheat malt.
He's still
Style.
going.
Style
Okay.
Western. It has to be a good brand of smokes though. Definitely Winnie Reds.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm feeling posh and I feel like a smoke, Winnie Reds.
You have to be posh to smoke yourself.
Rod
now, they're
Winsky?
Yeah,
like $200 a
we'd
packet.
get in so much trouble.
So you Dan, think a lot of that voting base is coming through foot traffic in your venue?
Well, for us, not as much, I don't think. I think we've got I actually don't know. I know like early on the email list was good, the venues were good, and we got the Facebook group that were good. But I think for places, I would assume for like the 1 mile situation, I've never been there. I would assume it's like a really active, like your mates, I think did really well early on with just a super active brand and brew pub that they were cranking in that list before they were distributed anyway. So I kind of assumed that like the people come in. I know that they had like kiosks in the brew pub and come in and they're really encouraging it, and they're like the biggest super fans. So I think getting them to vote is a lot easier than getting some guy who buys your beer, from Dan Murphy's.
Yeah, this is a shit time of year for us as well because this is our off season. So we're I think during the tourist season we might get 60 to 100,000 people through the venue over our tourist season, which we'd probably win GABS if we could line it up with that. I'd just ply them with beer and we just get everyone's votes. But it's a difficult time of year for us here as well. Even a lot of people just go away on holidays this time of year, so it's definitely quiet. So it doesn't line up with our peak season. So I think
I've got an idea.
where we sit.
I've got an idea. Okay, this is what you do, right?
Right.
You get that golf buggy, and then you get like a clipboard. It might be against the terms of GABS, so this is not GABS advice. All right.
Right. Clear that up.
You drive the golf buggy over to the campsite, right? You get your little clipboard because the old people don't know how to use phones. Then you just get their email address, go to each one, give them a beer. That's also illegal, so this is definitely not GABS advice. But no one's going to know. It's Alice Springs. Who cares? Give them a beer, and then
We're in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. So then you get their email address, and then you get a VPN, right? And then come back, go to every little campsite, drive your little golf buggy back, and just plug it in.
Yeah. All right. Just
A bit of data entry, and
well, we've got quite a few cans here, so we might just knock them off and we'll give it a go after that.
Exactly. Like some low fills or something, or some of those bottles that you had before that were exploding.
I've seen some questionable inducements online this year from some breweries. I'm not going to name names. Can't remember them anyway. But I feel like some people skirting. They're just like, just navigating just really close to the line with some potential inducements, which I might take them up on. I already have my votes.
I thought the same thing. I like, even when they started doing paid ads, I was like, I don't know. Is that like in the spirit of a kind of a competition? But I guess it is. I don't know.
I don't know. I was, without jumping ahead, I was reading the responses to your post on the Facebook group earlier today. And incidentally, if you're new to the Boston the Brewer podcast, you can come and join the conversation at facebook.com/Boston the Brewer, group/Boston the Brewer.
Yeah.
And come and shitpost with us because we're cool.
Yeah, but if you want to join and post a serious comment or question, you can do that too. Like,
or not. We prefer not.
Do we though? Because like, if people ask a good question, we talk about it. It's better content.
I like a laugh.
He's on a field trip. All right.
But anyway, a lot of the comments on your post this afternoon was really much into like, oh, this is the last GABS Hottest 100. It's dead. It's done. This is the last one.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's come from, but maybe it is.
I said the same thing when we talked about it last time. I kind of just said generally it feels like it's become a little bit less relevant. And
what if we did a Boston the Brewer Hottest 100?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, a Hottest 12.
Well, Hottest... That's a bloody great idea. Hottest 12.
Just a thought. Is this like with the Triple J Hottest 100 when you just get too old for it? And then like,
yeah,
we all just too old?
Yeah, and then you
but the
go
young
to the
people,
Boston
don't,
Brewer
the young
Hottest
people
12.
don't care about it, do they? Like, the young people don't care about the craft beer and the voting and all any of it, really.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? If you like got too old for the GABS Hottest 100 and you went to the Boston the Brewer Hottest 12, fucking Rattenhund would be the top beer every year. Top Nation Rattenhund, that'd be it.
But Wayne Grodzitsky would be in the mix, surely.
Well, that'd be surely top 12. Definitely top 12.
Top 12? Man. we could definitely do that. But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with both of you. I think the questionable marketing's always been a thing. I always just kind of cringe a little bit, but fuck it, if it works, good on them. But yeah, I think this year, because I predicted Better Beer to win, and if Better Beer win,
what do you reckon? Do you reckon Better Beer's going to win it?
Better beer. Oh, barbecue's on fire. I don't be getting that. Hey, that's what happens when I'm not in charge of the barbecue.
Barbecue's on fire.
We just got to get a fire extinguisher.
Let's get a fire extinguisher.
No, move aside, Hendo. I want to watch what's going on back there.
Getting bigger.
What's happening?
So put it out. Pour a beer on it.
What sort of food is being cooked back there?
I don't think
nothing yet.
It's going to work.
So you reckon Better Beer's going to take home the chocolates?
Yeah, and I think if they do, I think I've got no problem with it. Good on them, but I think it's gonna piss off a lot of sort of craft beer drinkers that do tend to vote in this thing and enjoy it and support their local brewery. And I think it'll affect the kind of feeling of the whole competition. I feel like.
Okay, there's no rules to being the most popular kid in school, I suppose, and that's what we're talking about is a popularity contest, really.
Yeah.
I think probably what needs to happen is the Hottest 100 needs to be revised, perhaps, and change into more like the current Triple J Hottest 100, which is the Hottest 100 new songs. And that's the primary focus, as opposed to the classic. Who's Yeezy? Hottest 100. Oh, who cares?
He wins the Hottest 100, doesn't he?
He's too racist. He doesn't win anything.
Because everyone knows that if the Hottest 100 beers was if the Hottest 100 songs was operated like the Hottest 100 beers, then Smells Like Teen Spirit Nirvana would be continuing to get number one year after year after year. Or Gautier.
The winner of the Hottest 100 right now is My Barbecue.
It's the fire's out, isn't it?
Oh, the fire's going out. Never mind.
Yeah, I would choose Burn by Usher. I think that's the best song ever.
Let it burn.
I don't think there's enough beers though, Hendo. I don't think it wouldn't be interesting enough. There's not enough beers come out. It'd be so niche. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose if you did if the GABS Hottest 100 turned into the Hottest 100 new beers, then the Hottest 100 would eventually turn into GABS Festival.
Yeah, there's no. I don't think that would be a positive change. I just think it's the number of like loyal sort of craft beer people who are really, really into this thing are going to stop paying attention if a beer wins that is not considered a legitimate sort of craft beer, I think. And Pacific Ale.
Yeah, but also on the same note though, there's going to be a lot of people who stop paying attention if Better Beer win.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. I think if they win, they'll just get jaded with the whole thing. Because I think when Pacific Ale win, like when they kept winning, they were an independent brewery. It was a fucking great beer. They were great people. Not to say none of that's true about Better Beer, but it was a craft beer. It embodied the spirit of everything that we were all doing, and we're all on board with it. But Better Beer is just like it's fucking awesome and it's great what they're doing, but it doesn't really embody the craft beer spirit, does it?
Yeah. And the bloody gambling as well on the odds on the Hottest 100. Like you can actually bet on the Hottest 100.
They're the favourites.
What's
right?
Alice Springs paying?
What's that?
They're favourites, aren't they? Better Beer. They're like odds on favourites or something, or they were close.
Better Beer's favourites.
Yeah.
But the thing that I thought was really interesting that I saw today was the Rebel strawberries and something cream or something. Sour beer was up there because that's actually backed up by a podcast. So it's got a social media backing behind it. So that's shortened up the odds to $5.
Interesting. Yeah. People they must know
you can go to the TAB and shit. Bet on it.
See what we're paying. We'd be I'll put the house on it.
Yeah.
Bring it up. If I
Have
have
an app. I don't
bring it up
gamble,
right now.
but you have an app. I'm sure the GABS Hottest 100 is on the app. Have a punt.
There's going to be nothing left of your house after this fucking barbecue blazes out of control, so you may as well gamble
It's
it
fine
away.
now.
I think
okay
we brought
now.
it under
We're okay.
control.
Okay. Right. Well, the longest segue in the history of the Boston Brewer podcast. So the next
Segue.
is the next segment is buy or sell. So the 12, we have 12 members in our group, and we post questions in there, and then they're going to give us a buy or sell, basically a story about the hottest 100, and we have to say I'll buy that or I'll sell that. Okay. So
Hit us.
the first one, Wade Curtis, who we spoke about before. Buy or sell, heaps normal to get number one. I'm going to sell that because they're not getting number one. But it's an interesting point about non-alc beers.
Heaps normal to get number one? Nah, sell.
Yeah,
Sell?
I'm not down with that.
Mate, if a non-alc beer ever gets number one in the GABS Hottest 100, I'm gonna take a holiday permanently.
You're going to throw yourself into that barbecue or move to the caravan park next door.
No, nothing like that. I'm just gonna take a permanent holiday and not make any more beer.
Do you think there'll be a lot more non-alc beer in there? I think there will be.
Because they might start the GABS Hottest 100. No, let's just start the GABS Hottest 100 fucking soft drinks.
Wow. I heard of a thing today called what was it? Hard water? No. Hard water?
What? Hard water.
Wait, I'm going to bring that up.
Alice Springs.
No, it was. It
I
is.
love some water chemistry.
Fuck, I'm going to bring this up right now. This is on Brew. It's basically just like non-carbonated RTD cocktails.
Uncarbonated.
Hard water. That's it. It's hard water. That's a thing now.
So it's high in calcium and magnesium?
I don't fucking know. I don't have access to our Brewbound because you have to log in and pay. But it says it's like the first couple of paragraphs say ready to drink cocktail launch this week, offering the first canned beverage combining premium spirits with pure non-sparkling mineral water.
Are we disappearing in the smoke?
Oh,
What the?
you doing that? Hang on a minute.
Oh my god!
Oh, the big ass fans coming on.
Oh wow! Where's it going to go? It's going to go towards the flame. That's not going to help.
Is that doing the job? Yeah.
I don't feel like a lot of value is being added here.
So you put the fan right there to blow the smoke from the barbecue. It's actually working.
Oh, the smoke away from. Oh wow! Okay,
I feel like the smoke's going over you, Dan. Is that much of it?
but only going to blow the smoke, the air into the fire and make the fire bigger.
That's fine.
Fire up.
That's fine.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, this is a canned beverage combining. So the first canned beverage combining premium spirits with pure non-sparkling mineral water.
What?
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I think it's important to remember.
Is it cheap because you'd be like, oh, I'm so poor I can't afford carbon dioxide?
It's a flat RTD. Tequila hard water.
Or a cocktail, except without ice.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not a fan.
No.
Sell.
All right. So non-alc, do you think big showing for non-alc in the list this year or no?
I think it'll do okay this year, and I would probably say we may get one in the top 10. Did we get one in the top 10 last year?
Heaps. Oh yeah. Heaps normal. Yes. Yeah. Actually,
Heaps normal. Yeah. Maybe we'll get 2 in the top 10.
2021 results. Heaps normal were like 20 something. I think they were definitely pretty high. They were.
Did
There we go.
top
20.
10?
East Coast Hayes beat them by 1 vote.
I think we should get a non-alc in the top 10 this year.
You know which one it'll be?
Probably heaps normal.
Better be.
No.
No, it won't be. No, it won't be. It won't be. Heaps normal in the top 10. Well, that's a pretty big call.
Yeah, it isn't it? No one ever thought of it though.
All right. Okay. All right, buy, sell, Currumbin Valley. So this is from Adam Shell,
Which one?
the other one.
Rightio.
Buy, sell, space, then colon, terrible punctuation. Adam Shell, you should know better. I think he's done that on purpose, I hope. A lot of capitalization too. Currumbin Valley
Triggered.
Bubblegum Sour moves up a few places. I mean, it's very vague, but
Oh, they're not really making it that much though. I
They've
love
never
the beer.
made-
Bubblegum sour. They've done it this year. Yeah,
They've
they've done a
never
couple
made
of batches this year.
no, they've never made the list.
Crumman Valley.
Yeah,
That's a shame because they make good beer.
it is a shame, and I hope I'm right because if I'm not, I love those guys. It'd be really bad if I'm not, but I'm pretty sure they have not made the list.
Oh, yeah.
So moves up a couple of places. Buy, sell, yes, no.
Let's
What's
see what
happening?
happens.
Wow. Okay.
Probably sell. Probably sell.
I'll sell that too. All right.
As much as I love to buy, it's probably going to be sell.
Yeah. All right. Callum Sprott. Buy, sell. Good punctuation here, which I appreciate. Better Beer gets number
Excellent.
one in brackets, unfortunately. Well, I'm buying that because they're my pick to win.
Yes, fair enough.
Okay,
Yep.
buy, sell.
Yeah,
I'm selling because I my number one.
Mm-hmm. Your mates.
It's Larry for the win.
Carl?
I might buy it. I reckon they're
Yeah.
they're a good shot. They're
Yeah.
here in Alice Springs, so I mean, 20 years behind everywhere. So if it's here,
So Better Beer is like in the DeLorean.
yeah, with Doc,
20 years ahead.
yeah.
Back
Nice.
to the Better
Okay.
Beer.
Callum Sprott has a second question. Buy, sell, East Coast Haze and Goat both make the top 10. That's a bit of a black opsy question.
Or
Well, I
sell.
mean, that would be almost impossible to do, but I'm just going to say buy because
I would buy one or the other, but I would buy one like Goat or East Coast Haze in the top 10, but I would sell both.
Yeah, the question is both. So you're selling. I'm
Goats.
buying only because I'm
East Coast Haze is one.
biased.
Yeah, right.
East Coast Haze is the one you're pushing for votes, isn't it, though, Dan?
No, we just said vote for either one because they're kind of we said vote for either one. It'll be interesting. I think it'll affect the results of Goat a fair bit, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going.
Yeah, fair
It's not
enough.
going to be. I don't think it'll be fifth this year. That's Let's see. What do you reckon, Kyle?
Yeah,
Buy
there
or
you go.
sell? Top 10.
No, I'll probably sell that. I think Goat will be in there, from my opinion. Just once again, I just got to base on what I know from Alice Springs, and it's available here. We don't have.
Did you get East Coast Haze?
No, I haven't seen it.
You know why?
Oh,
Because you're in Central Australia.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's pretty hazy here, but that's not from the East Coast.
Hey, what are you
Yeah,
going to
you've
fucking
got-
do, Dan? You've done West Coast Haze and you've got East Coast Haze.
Central.
What about the Northern Territory?
Barbecue Haze?
North Coast? North Coast. You have crocodile in it. It's a real crocodile.
Central Haze? Yeah. All right. We can do that.
You're like you're excluding the centre of Australia and South Australia for that matter.
Yep. No, that's a fair point. All right, Matthew Cuthbert, buy, sell, lowercase s. It's okay. No colon. Better Beer, lowercase. Don't know about that. Gets number one in the official death of the competition.
Can you say that again? Sorry, I missed that. I was enjoying a beer.
What beer you got?
I have got the Almost Summer Ale.
Oh, nice. Let me do a little. Well, don't like completely cover Kyle's head, but let's see if we can get a little screenshot going.
Take a photo of that.
Yeah, it's going to be a screenshot, not a photo, because I lost my phone. But that's good. Done. So what are we working with there? Just a little easy drinking ale?
What is it? What's Almost Summer?
Yeah, it's like American Pale. Reasonably hopped up. Yeah, it's. I mean, all our beers are pretty easy drinking, so it's not.
It's got
What's
like
that?
it's got like pop coming off.
Yeah, I think that's smoke from the barbecue.
How many
on
standos
fire.
are we working with?
1.4 in the summer, I think it is. 1.6, 1.4. Oh, I gotta look on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1.4.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's 1.6 in the winter.
Yes. He said in the summer.
In the off season.
Yeah.
All right. So the question was Matthew Cuthbert, buy sell better beer gets number one in the official death of the competition.
Yeah. It's interesting. I will absolutely buy. There being a lot of controversy and angry people after the hottest 100 is announced.
Yeah.
That's a buy. No question. Would I sell that better beer getting the number one spot, and that is therefore the end of the hottest 100, the GABS hottest 100? Oh, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I actually say sell, because Dan Murphy's and BWS and First Choice are way too interested in this competition for it to be the death of it, because they look at that list and they use it and they put shelf talkers on, to say this got into the, position number 20 or number 12 or whatever it is. And there'll be too much money behind it for it to be the death of it.
Okay. Carl?
I reckon it's a sell. And I think it's probably GABS has to get bigger every year. And the average punter might not be as passionate about this as, you or I or Hendo. So I think as something like this gets bigger, the more and more people buy in, and they might not be purists or, as invested, I guess. There might just be people that enjoy that beer. So maybe while we may be fired up about it, I don't know, maybe the average punter. And, this is the thing, as craft beer gets bigger and eats up more of the mainstream market, it's got wider appeal. So does everyone get as angry or care as much? I don't know. I'm probably, I'd say sell, no.
All right. I'm interpreting this as a spiritual death of the competition, and I predicted Better Beer to win, and I do buy that this will be a Better Beer win and a spiritual death of the competition.
And so you're buying, this is the year that the GABS hottest 100 sells out.
Yeah. Well, I'm not blaming them for it. I'm just saying
No.
that
it's the year that it happens.
It ceases to be what it once was after this year.
Fair enough.
When Better Beer win it. Yeah. All right. Nick Lennon, Salt Dick. Buy sell Steve Henderson talks about this. Oh, he's have to talk about it now.
All right. Yeah. No. He did comment on a post earlier this week, and I did promise that I would explain the name of the beer. So
you have explained this on this podcast before, though. So if he digs through the archives.
Yes, if you look through the archives, you'll find it. But the short version of the so I did a collab with Magic Rock out of the UK, and I think it was in 2014, I think it was, with Stu from Magic Rock, who's an absolute bloody legend. And so we were communicating on email about what we would call this beer, and him being English and me being Australian, and it being this Anglo-Australian beer collaboration. I said, well, let's call it Salt Dick IPA. And he said, well, why will we call it Salt Dick IPA? And I said, well, it's got 1 foot in Australia and 1 foot in England, and its dick's hanging in the fucking Indian Ocean. Salt Dick. Okay, go.
Okay.
Thank God Adzi had the blanking out the silences.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be
That's actually why we named it. It was actually, to be fair, it was named after a good friend of mine who was indeed a salt dick himself, and a good friend of mine who I knew from Perth, who's now living back in Huddersfield again, Daryl. We have the same birthday. We're born on the same day of the same year. And Daz was the quintessential salt dick, because when he was in Australia, he would go to the soccer matches, football matches, and would profess to be fucking English. And then when he moved back to the UK, he would profess to be Australian. And so, yeah, so he's a salt dick.
Nice. Well, we were just talking about Currumbin Valley before. I think I mentioned this last time we talked about it. When me and Luke got to know each other, we started working together in a co-working place, and they had an event, like a Friday night sort of like presentation or whatever. And me and Luke, instead of like actively participating in this event, we went down the corner and drunk Burley Brewing beers on tap, and then came back, and Lukey had brought in a beer for us to drink before this thing, and it was Salt Dick. So we smashed that, and then the rest is history. I went on to start Black Ops. He went on to start Currumbin Valley, and
Yes.
so it was a pivotal beer in our story too, and I didn't know what it meant.
I'm sorry.
Well, most of your beers were, but that one was one that he brought in. Like, yeah, this is good.
Thanks, mate.
All right.
I was actually really on a technical level. It was actually a really interesting beer to make because Stu had some really interesting ways of thinking about beer, and we did it with it was mostly Golden Promise malt. And one of the things that Stu was really big on at the time, and I don't know if he's still into it, was that the mash pH was well below 5, like way out of the zone where you'd normally have it. And it was almost like a sour mash beer. And it was really interesting. And it came up with some really interesting flavors because I actually had English hops and Australian hop in it. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were. I think Pilgrim was the British hop, and I can't remember what the Australian hop was. And the beer was really, like, as far as IPAs goes, it's pretty unique,
Nice. I was just as you said that, I was gonna mention, because I actually didn't realize this was going to be our situation. I thought we were doing the normal podcast. Right. I had a fucking debacle today trying to get a pool.
Yeah.
And I learned about pH, which was probably the only useful thing about
Come on. Rightio. So you're a pool owner now.
Yeah. Not well. It's currently filling up.
Okay. Do you know who invented the pH scale?
Peter Hellier from the project.
You're a fucking idiot. It was invented at the Carlsberg Brewery in Copenhagen around the same time that Louis Pasteur, and he worked at the Carlsberg Brewery in Copenhagen, invented single culture beer.
Nice.
Monoculture beer. And so do you know what the pH stands for? Not fucking Peter Hellier. Do you know what it actually stands for?
Physical.
Like, it's an acronym.
Hate. I don't know.
Hey?
Oh, an acronym. Oh, okay. No, It's actually not an acronym. It's an initialism.
No, not really.
You know, an acronyms are not acronyms unless they're complete words. I worked in the government for like 20 years and I didn't even realize this until like a year ago. Like, It's not an acronym. Like, ABC is not an acronym. It's only an acronym.
What about a TLA?
Hey?
What about a TLA?
What is it? TLE?
TLA.
No. To be an acronym, it has to be a complete word in itself. Like GABS. GABS is an acronym.
Yeah, but that's not a real word, though.
Did you Google it?
No, GABS is it's a complete word in its own right. Whereas like TLE is not a word. It can't be a word.
What's that called then if it's not called an acronym?
Initialism. So pH is an initialism.
That's too hard to pronounce.
Well, I know that, but I'm just you're telling me what's up. I'm telling you what's up.
Are you Stephen with a pH?
Yeah.
We've heard that joke about Steve with a pH, which is slightly acidic.
Yeah. Anyway, pH stands for power of hydronium.
Of course.
Okay. So this is awesome and everything, but I feel like the spirit of that question was like, Hendo's going to explain a bunch of shit that no one wants to hear about and get in the way of the fun of the episode. And that's exactly what's happening.
What was the pH of your pool?
I haven't put anything in it yet because I'm not allowed to. It's fucking complicated. I think I'll tell this next week.
Do you have the little dropper things and shit with the color? It turns yellow and shit.
Honestly, I'm not even willing to talk about this until next week. There's been 9 different people involved in the process of me putting water in my pool today. 9 different people.
I know
none of them is me. That's 9. That's 9 not including me.
buy it. Have you got a pH meter?
No. I've got a fucking hose and a pool
Do you have a pH
and
meter?
a lot of consultants.
Well, how are you measuring the pH?
I'm not. It's just got water in it. But I had to clean it with acid myself today.
You need to get old Hendo around. I'm the fucking master of water pH, man.
I cleaned it with acid today, and I left some of it in there. Does that count?
Any day, mate. I'll bring my pH meter around and dip it in your pool.
All right, come and get one leg either side and get pH dick. I don't know, acid dick. All right. All right, let's get back into this.
Rightio.
Did you warn Kyle about how this normally goes, or
So, what's the go with your pool? Is
no?
it full yet?
It's honestly, it's too long. No, it's going right now. It's probably 25%.
I don't envy your water bill next quarter.
I know. Yeah, it's small, so that's on the plus side.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I know that. But I put the plug in the bottom by myself, so I'm super confident that we're all good. I'm not going to lose any water.
It has a plug in the bottom.
No, it turns out it's not a plug. It's just some sort of fucking weird seal situation.
I bet you one of the boys does a dive and just pulls it out one day.
It's not a plug. Do you know? Oh my God. If I get started on this shit, it's going to be a long night. But I'll say one thing, right? It's really hard to clean something out. Like my pool's been sitting there for a year and a half. It had a cover on it.
All right.
But it got about that much water in it, right? Probably 200 mil of water. And in one section of it, it got about 50 mil of sand. Because I'm near the beach, it rains, sand comes in, it fucking goes in the pool. There's no plumbing in the pool. So you have to get all of that shit out of there and you have to clean it before
Did you leave the plug in?
There's no.
Did you leave the plug in?
There's no fucking plumbing in a pool. It's just a fucking concrete thing. So you have to get all of that out there without any drainage. It's very difficult. I use a
how do you
dustpan and
fucking
brush.
empty it?
Huh?
How do you empty it?
Dustpan and brush. It was a long day, Hendo. Look how
do you
brown
empty
I
it
am.
if you need to empty it?
What?
Have you seen? Oh, what's the movie? Is it Caddyshack? Where someone puts the Snickers bar in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
What if someone puts a Snickers bar in the pool?
Like a
Or
cigar
worse.
fish?
Like I say, a picnic with extra. No, like a picnic bar, like a picnic chocolate bar with extra peanuts.
Fuck me. Yeah, a cigar fish. Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Have you not seen Caddyshack?
No.
Right, so how do you empty the pool?
Well,
I
I
have
bought
a fucking dustpan and fucking
bought a
brew
pump
some-
from Bunnings, and it worked for about 30 seconds until I got the limit on the pump, which was about how much water was in there. And then I used a fucking bucket and a dustpan and brush and some towels.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long day. All right, let's get back to these
You're
questions.
in so much trouble.
All right. Andrew True.
I'm coming to your housewarming and I'm bringing.
Yeah, come down. Come down. I'm going to do it on the mid next month. Come down. All right, next
Great.
one. Andrew True.
That's good. I'm keen.
Andrew True, I want to know, given the regulations around GABS, how are your mates able to promote thousands in prizes around voting in GABS? And I should say, to answer that question, I think GABS encourage people to vote by saying you can win the general GABS prize. I assume that's what he's referring to, which is totally within the rules.
Yes.
Right. So they're not cheating. This is not a buy or sell. He's just asking the question.
What is the GABS prize this year?
I have no idea, but they always send out
$4,000 or
saying
something, isn't it?
you can win these prizes if you vote, but you can't incentivize people to win something from your brewery if they vote for that brewery.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So it's fine. Totally fine as long as they're saying win the GABS prize if you vote in GABS. Totally fine.
Yeah.
All right. Buy sell. Darren Gittins. More than 4 Queensland beers in the top 10. All right. Ooh, let's look at
In the
last
top
year.
10?
Yeah.
I'm going to
Last
buy
year
that.
we had Bolter XPA,
Yeah, it seems.
I'm going to buy
Larry.
that because we actually had that.
Black
Yep.
Ops Goat, Ballistic.
Yep.
That was it. 4, more than 4. Okay, I'm selling that. No chance. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah. Buy.
Yeah, I reckon it's reasonable. I'll buy it.
More than 4, so that means
Reasonable.
5. Half of the top 10.
Yeah.
Where's
okay.
better beer from?
Not Queensland.
Are they from Queensland?
No.
Oh, mate,
Oh,
nah,
man.
sell. Sorry.
What about more than 4 better beers in the top 10? They don't have 3, don't they? Okay, we're selling that one. All right. Luke Miller.
Do they have 4 beers?
Yeah, they've got like a pale ale, which is not very good. A ginger beer and no else.
Oh, they've got 4. Okay, well, not more than 4. All right. Luke Miller, buy, sell, first sour beer ever to make the top 10.
Or say that again. We missed that.
First sour beer ever to make the top 10.
The hamster's fallen off the wheel.
The hamster fell off the wheel.
What?
We still love you, Dan.
Wait, is that a beer name or you just can't hear me anymore?
No. Just say that. Ask the question again.
Top 10, the first sour beer to ever make the list.
In top 10.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's actually sell. Sell.
Yeah, I don't reckon it's a thing.
I don't think we'll get a sour beer in the top 10 at all.
No, I was just looking at so Revel were 39 last year. Why would their beer be $5 to win in your odds that you posted in the
Because that beer is backed up by another podcast, and I can't remember the name of the podcast, but there's a bunch of guys like the Inspired Unemployed, and probably can't compare them because someone might get cranky, but yeah, they're backed up by a podcast. That's why it's $5.
Ah, okay. All right. So is that the beer this person's referring to? Because that was a sour, right?
Yeah,
sorry?
it's strawberry and something.
All right. Well, I'm selling that one as well. All right. Darren Gittins, buy, sell. There will be a stout or porter in the top 50 this year.
Easily. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Buy with conviction.
Wow. Kyle?
Yeah, I'd buy that as well. Absolutely.
And the other reason why I can say that is I personally put a stout in and it got 12. So yeah, no, that's a buy.
It felt more like a humble brag, but okay.
It is a humble brag. Shut up.
All right, I'm going to sell that. I don't know. I'm not looking that closely at the list, but that seems
Wow,
like...
no stout or porter in the top 50. Are you serious?
Well, I'm looking at the old list. What's a stout or porter that's made the top 50?
Last year. Have a look at last year's results.
I'm looking at it right now.
You would have Once More Into the Fray from Deeds in there. That was definitely top 50 last year.
Sure wasn't.
Shut up. Are you serious?
94.
No way. I think this is Stout's year.
All right.
Dark beer's coming back.
All right. All right. Swan Roberts. How do you pronounce his name from Hound and Stag? I really should know that. Let's just cut that bit out.
Q.
Say that again.
Q.
Kuhn.
Q.
Q.
As in the letter Q. Yeah,
Q.
that's what it gets called.
Oh, so it's just like a shorter version.
Yeah,
Cool. Q has a Q.
that's the one.
All right. Buy, sell, bent spoke crankshaft, not make the top 5. Wow.
Oh, that's brutal. Sell.
Sell.
So
Yeah.
I reckon it's in there.
Crankshaft's definitely top 5.
Yeah. Okay. Paul Metcalf, fan of the year last year, even though it's unofficial and we didn't have a competition, but he made this shirt. So
Yes.
right.
You look great, by the way. Look great.
Thank you. Buy, sell BH to get 2 beers in the top 15, GOAT and ECH. Same question. I'm buying.
That's a buy.
You're selling.
That's a buy. I'll
Oh,
buy.
top 15 you're buying? Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Buy.
Yeah, I'll buy it too.
All right. Last question. East Coast Haze to place higher than Bolter Easy Hazy. Probably not. What was Easy Hazy last year?
That's
Well,
their
that wasn't even
midstream.
in it.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'll buy that one.
I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Carl hasn't even heard of these beers because they're too east.
I can smell food here, and I'm starving.
Get around it, mate.
Yeah,
That was the last question. That was perfect.
bloody beautiful.
I'll tell you about my pool next time.
Absolutely. I want to hear all about your ool.
You need to get on the end of the cyclone because my pool was about to overflow from natural causes. So just hopefully that cyclone goes over your way.
Don't put any pee in your ool.
Yeah, no, I learned that from the pool guy today. You have to put some other chemicals in it. I'm going to tell the kids. All right. Well, cheers for coming on, Kyle. That was awesome.
Nah, thanks so much for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Have a good night.
Take it easy, legend.
See you guys.
See you, legends.